I've been following you on Twitter today. Have you dropped an F-bomb yet? You've avoided that so far.
I was gonna say blank no, but no, I haven't.
So,
No, not because I'm getting. By the way, I should have clarified with that tweet. Not because I'm getting not because I'm getting frustrated, just because I'm doing so much talking
yeah.
that you'd think that one would slip out every once in a while, but not
Let's
yet.
see how this interview goes. So you play Oliver Queen, who is the Green Arrow at DC Comics superhero.
Yep.
So for people that haven't seen the show or might just be familiar with the comic book character, how's the character introduced in the show? What's his background?
Well, we find him after he's been shipwrecked for 5 years. So he's being rescued from the island, and one of the intriguing aspects is we don't really know what his background is. We know what his life was like before the island. You know, he was a son of privilege, a billionaire, a playboy, not very thankful for what he had. But being reintroduced to him, we don't really know what happened to him on the island and why it has made him the way that he is now. And that's something that we are continuing to discover in the show. And we discover throughout the first season that he's really not a finished product. That obviously there have been seismic changes to him since he's been shipwrecked, but that they're not all for the better.
He strikes me as kind of, in the comics and in the show, as kind of a Batman type, that, you know, he's come from money, that he's very protective over this city. Except, I actually think that the Green Arrow origin story is really a lot cooler than Batman's. You know, training on an island, and setting up like a Robin Hood figure.
It's a really cool story. It's a really cool origin story, and that was the impetus for the show. And one of the reasons why when Warner Brothers came to Greg Berlanti and said, you know, who should get the television treatment, they said Green Arrow, because they envisioned a 5-year origin story, which will continue to be important throughout, hopefully, at least 5 seasons on the show.
And maybe beyond that in other media, because I know that DC have big plans for that.
You hear rumors that DC wants to do a Justice League movie. I can't imagine why they wouldn't. With how successful the Avengers has been, and now we have Chris Nolan, overseeing, sort of shepherding, playing the Joss Whedon role. I wouldn't want to say Josh, although technically, actually, Joss is playing the Christopher Nolan role.
Yeah.
He was there first.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be amazing to be involved in stuff that expanded beyond television onto the big screen. But maybe we'll expand beyond this series into other series.
Yeah. Very interesting. Were you surprised that we haven't seen the character before? As I say, with such a great story behind him. It seems that we haven't seen him have his own movie or have his own TV show.
Well, to my understanding, he's a pretty integral part of Smallville.
Yeah, he became
But listen, there are a laundry list of superheroes that have not really gotten their own treatment. I'm sure that there would be a slew of Aquaman fans raising their hands right now, or Wonder Woman had a series, but it's certainly been a minute since that happened. The Flash had a series in I think it was the late 80s, early 90s, but certainly there are a long list of superheroes in the modern era of television, when I think that the technology and the capabilities with computer-generated effects and all those things have caught up with what people imagine superheroes to be like. And the fact that we're now able to do that on television, there's certainly a number of superheroes that I'm sure people would like to see.
And like you say, Green Arrow was in Smallville at one stage.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that Arrow could be a means of bringing in other characters? Because I know in the comics, of course, he teams up with loads of people. It seems like it'd be a good way to kind of, have some partnerships running through the show.
Well, we work with DC Comics, and Jeff Johns, who's the chief creative officer there, had co-wrote episode 8 and wrote episode 16. We've already seen a fairly decent catalog of DC Comics characters so far. You know, be it the Huntress or Deadshot, Deathstroke, the Dark Archer, and then you know we have made reference to Coast City, Bloodhaven, Central City.
So the possibilities are all definitely.
The possibilities are there, and I think that you know we worked with DC and that was great. We'll continue to work with them, but because the show has had a little bit of success, I think that, well, I know that they're going to be a little bit more willing this year to maybe give us a few more interesting personalities.
Right, and I mean, were you a fan of the comic books beforehand? Did you read them before you got the role, or did you do?
No, I had read Superman, a little bit of Batman. I liked Lobo. I was a DC guy, funnily enough. I never really read Marvel comic books, but I read the pilot, and from that point forward, throughout the course of the pilot, I really, specifically Andrew Kreisberg, who was our producer that was there and who's you know been involved with Green Arrow, he and Mark Guggenheim and principally David Nutter, the director of our pilot, who directed the Smallville pilot. You trusted those guys. And then subsequently, I read a bunch of material.
Did you have any favorite arcs? Any particular things that you'd like to see the character doing on screen?
There's a point in Green Arrow Year One where he's addicted to heroin, actually, as a means to dull pain. And I think something like that would be pretty interesting. You know, Roy Harper's character has a lineage of drug addiction. That'd be interesting, and certainly Oliver Queen gets into politics at one point or another. Yeah. So one of the interesting aspects, I think, in season 2 is what has become of Queen Consolidated, because we lost Robert Queen, we lost Walter Steele, and presumably Moira Queen is paying dearly for her confession at the end of the season. So who's running Queen Consolidated? It's possible that we could see Oliver step into that role a little bit. The role that he shirked in the second episode.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever see you with the blonde?
With the goatee?
Blonde goatee.
I'd have to be able to grow one first, my friend.
it'd be an interesting visual. I'm not sure there's many characters on the CW with that kind of.
You know, I joked with my friends because this is the third CW show that I've done. I did an arc on Vampire Diaries. Yeah. I did a quick arc on 90210 and now Arrow, and each time I've had facial hair. And I feel like I'm one of the only people on the CW that is allowed to have facial hair. So that's goatee can't be that far behind. It looked terrible though. It looked really bad.
Yeah, probably would. What was it like facing off against John Barrowman? He's obviously, I feel like he's a lot better known in the UK. And it was.
Yeah, I mean John.
Choice of villain.
Wonderful choice of villain. Our one of our executive producers in particular is a massive Doctor Who fan. Yeah. Massive, and I was completely unfamiliar. I've never seen an episode of Doctor Who, or Torchwood for that matter. But you know, when we got John, everyone was so excited, and he's been a wonderful partner to act with, to share scenes with, principally because our scenes are usually racked with tension. But a very interesting guy to lean on as such a veteran and an esteemed actor for a genre program. Yeah. He has buckets of really, really wonderful advice, and I've leaned on him for it. It's been very helpful.
Excellent. Well, Stephen, thanks very much for speaking to me, and good luck with Arrow. I hope we see the 5 seasons.
5, 6, 7, who knows?
Yeah, and whatever comes beyond that.
Thank you very much. All right.